Hi everyone, thank you for tuning back into Aaron Meets World. My name's Aaron, and today I am going to continue my Star Wars oriented content since I just came back from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with a spotlight review of this guy right here. This is the Hot Toys Return of the Jedi Stormtrooper. This is actually the first Stormtrooper oriented figure that I've received from Hot Toys. I've kind of ignored them in the past, but I just have to say right off the bat, I was really impressed with this guy, and I really like him. I kind of skipped over the trooper type figures just because I was focused on filling in more of the main characters in my Hot Toys Star Wars roster. So I didn't really look at them. I figured, I'll get a Stormtrooper later on, but then they hadn't been, just a regular plain Stormtrooper hadn't really been available in quite a while. So when this guy came up, I jumped on him. I didn't really care that it was Return of the Jedi versus Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back, whichever. It's an original trilogy Stormtrooper, and that's what it looks like, and nobody's going to mistake it for anything else. It's nice and shiny, does have a little bit of weathering along the stripes of the legs and around pieces of the armor, but he's nice and shiny. His gun looks good. I'm really impressed with him. I think he was worth the money. Man, how much did he cost? I think he was just around $200 on the dot, maybe like $210, something like that. But it was inexpensive by Hot Toys terms these days. So I think he was very worth it, especially if you need a Stormtrooper in your collection. And now I kind of want to grab a few more Stormtrooper type figures. I'd actually really love to get my hands on a Sand Trooper, although I know at this point those are a few years old, so they might be a little pricey. I don't really pay marked up prices for figures if I can't get them for around their release price. I end up just going, and skipping on it. I'm not going to pay double or even, 50% over the original price, which if that means I don't get certain figures, then fine. But I would really like to add some more Stormtrooper type figures after getting this one. And really I'm excited for the quality and the variations of clone troopers who we might end up getting. I know at San Diego Comic-Con, we already knew Commander Cody was coming, but they did show a few other clone type figures. And if they're going to be anywhere near as good as this, it's going to be really cool to have a platoon of clone troopers on my shelf. So that wasn't originally in my plans, but with Iron Man figures probably going to be winding down in the future, maybe my focus can be on Stormtrooper armors and stuff like that. I'm not going to try to go back and get things like the Death Trooper and the Shore Trooper that are really marked up high in price. I skipped out on those, and I don't feel bad about it. Like I just said, I'm not going to pay way above the original price to get some of those older figures. But anyways, if you're looking at this guy, I think he's very worth it. If you're not looking at this guy and you don't have a Stormtrooper, I think this is a great one to get. Now, there apparently is a recent controversy with this figure with the base, for some people, showing the Sith Trooper from the Rise of Skywalker, but mine did not have that problem. It says Stormtrooper, and I'm happy with it. So it definitely... that problem is definitely not across the board. A lot of people will probably get some that will be just fine with the correct label on their base, but I bet you Sideshow will help people out with that. From what I've heard, they're usually pretty good with that. Now, I did receive on my default right hand for this figure, the white part was actually detached from the hand. When I received it, it was just loose in the box. At first I thought, oh, maybe it just pops on, pops off. I tried popping it on, but it just falls right out, so it needs to be glued. I could probably figure that out myself, but I'd much prefer it if Sideshow would just handle it. I don't really like to mess with such things. I did switch out the hands though, so I can display him right away, and in all likelihood, I'm not sure I would use the default hand anyway, so it's not really harm done, but I would like it fixed just so if I ever wanted to resell it, I don't have the value knocked down, 30, 40, 50 bucks just because of one hand with a defect. I personally think that's ridiculous. But again, why you're here the reason why you're here is to see if you should get this guy. And if you need a Stormtrooper from the original trilogy, this is your guy. He's very good quality. I really like the design's the classic design for Return of the Jedi Stormtrooper, but they just pulled it off really well. He's flexible. It's not too difficult to get him into cool poses. I just kind of have him in a neutral pose that you'd normally see a Stormtrooper in, but he's actually pretty flexible because they have kind of a black nylon suit underneath the armor, and at all the joints, that's where it is. The shoulders aren't actually attached to the rest of the armor, so it doesn't hinder articulation with moving the arms around, so it comes out pretty good. So anyways, I've probably said it a million times in this video already, but if you're looking for a Stormtrooper, get this one. It's great. It's a great price. So anyways, if you like this video, please give me a like. And as always, please subscribe and hit the bell so you see when my next video goes up. My next video will probably be back to more of a Galaxy's Edge merch focus because I have so much to go over. I've already talked about all of the things I've picked up in a general sense, just to list it off so you know what to expect in my Galaxy's Edge review video. And then I believe I also mentioned most of the stuff again in my Legacy Rey, Anakin, Luke lightsaber review, which was my last video. So please check those out if you want to hear my general impressions on the park and my impressions on that lightsaber. And stay tuned because it'll be more Galaxy's Edge stuff coming up very soon. All right, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.